Do you ever meet people and just be like, this isn't for you? No, I mean,
James as a motivational coach.
No, I meet people sometimes. They're like, I want to do X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, don't. I know you, and this is not for you.
James Dream Killer Dwiggins. That's your new handle.
You talk about it privately. We talk about it publicly. This is the Real Estate Insiders Unfiltered podcast.
Welcome again to the Real Estate Insiders Unfiltered podcast, where I'm sick again with the flu.
Dude, forever.
My co-host here, Mr. Keith Robinson. Yeah, never sick. Tell us about our amazing guest today, Ms. Kim Rittberg. She's a real estate video coach, award-winning marketer, and keynote speaker, but the content was awesome.
Yeah, she dove deep in video content. She talked about how to push past the fear of doing video. I liked her concept of the difference between supermodel mode and teacher mode. We spent a big chunk of time talking about her 5 C's of great video content. You will not want to miss that part. Why this could be the best time in history to do content, time management as a solopreneur. We also may have mentioned drop kicking grandmas and naked cowboys. So
you did.
Yeah, well, fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this one goes all over the place, obviously. Put it in your ears, kids.
Kim, welcome to the podcast. We are excited to have you here. Full disclosure for everybody listening and watching, we just had Kim as a keynote speaker at Keith's and our annual events. We got to see her in person.
It was great.
And I managed to get sick after because what else is new? So I'm doing this live with the flu. So yay me. So I love how Keith's laughing.
Well, you're always sick.
I literally feel like it's either my daughter giving me something or it's going to an event.
And that's basically all you do is hang with your daughter and go to events. So shocker, you're sick.
I have more antibodies now from RSV, pneumonia, the flu, COVID. I got it all. So
you're like one more illness away from turning into Wolverine. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Anyway, Kim, not what we're here to talk about.
Kim,
I do have running bacterial in my house called children as well. So I'm always sick as well.
Everybody with kids knows this, especially when they're still really young. So all right, let's get you started out. Kind of a question we typically ask everybody about their background, but you've had a journey from corporate America to now owning and operating your own very successful speaking, coaching, and content company. So we know that because we just got to hear you do a keynote, but talk to us about that. Give us a little about your background.
Yeah.
Sure. So when I started out in media, I was a journalist for TV. So telling stories, interviewing people, helping people see what their amazing story was, and actually creating that for millions of people. So I did that at TV, Inside Edition, Fox. I eventually shifted into digital and social media. So I launched the first ever video unit for Us Weekly magazine.
Nice.
Amazing. I got to build a business inside a business on someone else's dime. I mean, and then we were really successful, like lots and lots of views. And then when the company was acquired, I wasn't fired, neither was my team. They were really excited about the value we brought. The company was sold for $100 million, but I found myself working in the hospital during my childbirth. And I was like, I don't know about that. So of that $100 million, I didn't have equity. I didn't have a big benefit from it. And I was working in the hospital, and I realized I really want to take back control of my career. I love storytelling. I love what I do. I also worked at Netflix. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to build my own business. I really want to empower other people, real estate agents and business owners. How do you make amazing content? How do you create content on your own budget? That's okay. How do you get yourself out there using video and social media? And so that really was the impetus for me to start my own business. I don't want to work in the hospital again. And so I launched my own content, speaking and strategy company where I coach people. And I quickly realized, actually, as I started building my business, that without video, I was invisible.
Yeah.
And that was my aha moment. And that's really why I do what I do now, is hiding from the camera is hiding from clients.
Interesting.
I don't understand. I mean, I'm sorry, just because I this reminded me of a question I asked when we had Beverly Jackson from Zillow as a speaker recently, which is amazing.
She was good.
She was the content creator for all the advertisements that Zillow does, and they're very good at doing that. And she was giving everybody advice on like how to get on video, and so, of course somebody made a comment like, "Well, I don't like how I look on camera," and I was like, "Well, then you don't like the way you look in general. Like it's just." Your face is your face. Like people see what it is. Like what is the reason why people just can't get over that that fear? Like, where's that coming from? I mean, you've been in media, so you've been on TV and stuff, but
how do you help people push through that too?
I love this question because it's actually both mindset and scientific. So there's 2 steps. So I've trained literally thousands of people to be on camera in TV and now in my own business. And I do keynote speeches. I get people on camera by the hundreds. We get our phone out and we talk to the camera. But the truth is that voice in people's head is real. It's not like, oh, it's an insecurity. Number one, scientifically, we hear our own voice differently than it exists in the world. So, you know, when you hear your voicemail and you're like, oh my God, I hate my voice. Well, you don't because you have a podcast, but most people hear their own voice.
He's not humble about his voice at all.
No,
Keith goes to sleep. Keith goes to sleep listening to his own voice.
I do. It's damn good.
You have your own Headspace app for bedtime with your own voice.
Just talking to myself. Yeah.
Right. But most people don't use white noise of their own voice to go to bed. It's like we hear it differently than the world does. So number one, there's the scientific thing that actually we're hearing our voice differently.
Sure.
The second part is the truth is there's something about the knowledge of being on camera that makes us feel self-conscious. Right. So I agree with you 100%, James, that if you don't go to the supermarket, open your mouth and people run out screaming, you're doing just fine.
Right.
Like your life is okay. You don't need to be so insecure. However, people, their feelings are real. I work with thousands of people around the country and the mindset shift is important. So my biggest advice before the ticky tacky, like tactical stuff is get out of supermodel mode. Right. Where we think everyone's looking at us. We think they're looking at our outfit, our voice, our face, our lipstick, our shirt. And get into teacher mode. A teacher is not standing at the head of the classroom thinking about her hair. She's focused on the message and on what she's imparting. So get out of supermodel mode and get into teacher mode. The easiest way to start putting yourself out there is to stop thinking about how you look and just to start thinking about the message and value you're providing.
Yeah, it's really good feedback.
Yeah.
People just hold themselves back. I know we're going to talk about this, but people hold themselves back so much. Yeah. And I said this to Keith the other day. We were just chatting about just obviously doing a podcast and all the public speaking that we do, et cetera. There's a point where you also just stop giving a shit. Yeah. And the more that you just stop giving a shit about what people think, it's just so much easier. Like I just go, people are going to like the message or they're not. And there's not anything I'm going to do that's going to change that. And people like it or not, that's on them. Right.
Well, and to get good, and I agree with everything James said and you said, and to get good at something, you got to do it a lot.
Yeah.
A buddy of mine just reposted the first video I ever did 12 years ago. And it was so bad. It was so terrible. I mean, atrocious. And I remember when I put it out, I was so proud of it. Right. And to get good at something, you just got to do it. You just got to get the reps in. You just got to get the reps in.
Most of my TV career, I was behind the scenes as a writer, a producer, a director, getting people ready for on camera, writing for reporters. But at a certain point, I wanted to be on camera. I kind of always knew, and kind of fear and insecurity held me back from doing that. I finally got an on-camera job in the area. I was very lucky to not have to move to Kalamazoo. I'm from New York. I didn't want to move away from my family. And just to leave my family. Like, I don't have any friends in Kalamazoo. No friends.
No offense, not Kalamazoo. One. Shout out Kalamazoo. I'm sure it's a beautiful place to be from, but I don't have any friends there either.
Yeah, it's not a knock on Kalamazoo. It's that I don't have friends there. And so I got on camera, and the first few weeks, I was so stiff. I was like, This is Kim Rittberg reporting live from Brooklyn, New York for FiOS One News. And that is not 100% not how I talk. I did have a funny stand-up about where I was in Gilgo Beach on that serial killer story, actually, literally by myself, being like, and the killer is still on the loose. Right. But the truth is, I was very robotic and awkward at the beginning. Even me, I had all the training. I had given all the training. I had given all the training to all of these people, but you have to get the reps in. And honestly, within a month, I was much smoother and I was much more myself, and I was able to be Kim Rittberg, real Kim Rittberg, and not robotic version. Yeah. But people have to get through that. And I think if it is like a pyramid that you're ascending, or like a mountain that you're ascending at the beginning, the first few steps are absolutely the hardest. Yeah. Getting out of your own head and making video 1, video 3, video 5, video 8. Once you're on video 15, video 25, video 50, you're good. You could go forever. But the first ones is hard, both in the mindset shift, but then there's tactical stuff. And then once I get through the mindset, I teach my clients, now that you're going to be on camera, here's what to do. Yeah. it's the climbing up. And then once you're already comfortable, then it's like, let's make the content that showcases you, that showcases your value.
It's like what content to share. Let's go through a couple rapid fires.
Yeah, let's do the rapid fires. Yes, I'll go first.
We're getting so deep, and I want to get these two things out as well. So Keith, take us on that.
Yes, this is my selfish one. Your favorite book or podcast this year, or why? And I will order the book right after you say it if I haven't already read it. So,
am I allowed to recommend my own podcast?
Hell yeah, you are. Yeah.
So my favorite podcast is the Exit Interview with Kim Rittberg. And it's about people who've shifted out of one job into self-employment, how they're crushing it and also finding balance. That's a key part of it. So how you're growing your business, creating the career and life of your dreams. I've had amazing people on, Rebecca Minkoff. I've had, oh my God, so many big names now. I can't think of them. Neil Patel, Emily Oster, really interesting people, and lesser known people who really are finding great careers and facing down fears to do it.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I love it. That's great.
Yeah,
Hearing those stories is super fun for people to go through. And if it helps them get past their own fear, then great. You know?
Yeah. So often we think we're the only ones struggling with whatever we're struggling with. Totally. And especially in the residential real estate industry, because it's a real solopreneur kind of job. Yeah. And so often we think we're the only ones struggling when the truth is that everyone is struggling with the same stuff. So
it's not even just real estate. It's just in general.
Life.
You know?
Yes.
You could have lunch with one person, current historical. Who would it be? And
Tina Fey and Amy Poehler together.
That's a good one.
My God. That is a good. You told us that you had thought about it and you had a good one, and you didn't lie. That would be a fun lunch.
That took me 2 seconds. Actually, my career high at Netflix. I was a producer for marketing content at Netflix. I got to direct Tina Fey, and one day she turned to me and she was like, "Kim, do you think we should shoot over there?" And I was like, oh my God, my hero just talked to me. She knows my name. And then another day she complimented my dress. And I was like, I'm not going to be a creep. And I'm just going to say thank you.
Yeah.
I'm going to hold that in my head for the rest of my life. First of all, I think they're both hilarious, 100%, but also smart. They've been able to do things and stand out in a way that they've never lost themselves. Yeah. They are who they are. Everybody loves them. Everyone admires their talent and their skills, but they're not trying to ever be someone else. And they're hilarious. I've seen them on stage. My brother is a stand-up comedian, or was. And so I did improv comedy classes with him in our 20s, and I would perform in little black box theaters in New York City. And so I saw a lot of comedy, and I got to see both of them perform live, and it was just magical. They're so amazing, off the cuff. So yeah,
it's a gift.
Those are good ones. We haven't had that one out of all the guests. So.
No. Yeah.
All right. Take us through, Keith.
Sure. So, we don't often get an award-winning video content creator on our podcast. So we're going to bounce between strategic and tactical and video and mindset and sort of all over the place because you've got such a depth and breadth. But the first thing as we were thinking about questions to ask is, if anybody knows the recipe for creating successful video content, it's probably an award-winning video content creator. So when you think about, like, you're consulting a client, what's the recipe for successful video content?
Sure. I spoke about this at Inman Connect in January, and I love kind of thinking it through. I've broken it into the C's. I presented the 4 C's, but I like you guys, so I'll give you a 5th one.
Hey.
And I'll go through it pretty quickly, but confidence, number 1. So a video is never going to be good if you don't believe both in yourself and in what you're selling. So that comes off both in your voice and your demeanor, but also, like, are you into this? Are you selling this house, but you think it's a piece of crud? Like, they're going to think that too, you know?
Right.
And so that's
I know we're already on the first C and I'm already interrupting you, but we just talked about how people lack confidence when they start this journey. And now you're telling me confidence is the first of the 5 C's.
Yeah.
How do those two things fit next to each other when they're beginning this journey?
Sure. First of all, fake it till you make it. No, just kidding. I think some of it, fake it till you make it. No, but there is, you have to have the confidence even in what you're doing. So even if you're not feeling super confident about being on camera, be confident in what you're presenting. Whether you're in your first year or in your 30th year, you do have knowledge. You do have expertise. Perhaps if in your first year, what can you take from your past career that makes you confident? And so it's not always just about the, like, shoulders back, look at the camera, smile, but it's really be confident in what you're selling people. Are you knowledgeable about the market? Are you really like some of my clients are really love the finance piece. Others love the design piece. Others love the like negotiation piece, and whatever that is, like really own that you are knowledgeable, because that comes off.
Yeah. Excitement's transferable, right? So if you're excited, pick what you're excited. What I heard you say is pick what you're excited about and talk about that, whether it's interest rates or inventory levels or beautiful kitchens, whatever.
Yes.
Like lean into those things and start there. Okay. So,
and one of my clients, she's an ex-home woman. She's from Florida, and she came and did my video boot camp.
Okay.
And she was feeling so low and camera shy, but I was like, you got this. This is a group course. Like, we're all going to do it together. Like, I was really cheering her on and teaching her.
Yeah.
She started showing up on camera, and she's not one of those people who like every week has 3 videos. Like, it's not that sort, but she started showing up on camera, showing her life, showing her properties. She got a referral within the first week.
Well, now she's hooked, right?
Now she's hooked. This year, the past year, she got $2.5 million in new home sales just directly from video. And that is that confidence and showing up. So for that, it was a total unlock. So it's saying, I can do this. Yeah. And I believe in what I'm showing. And you could tell she was really she'd be walking around saying, this is a new development that just went up. Isn't this nice? And like, I'm just on a walk around my neighborhood. And she was really, you could feel the confidence coming out. And now it's really, I mean, $2.5 million in new home sales just from video.
Right. Yeah.
You know, the piece I would always add to this when people are struggling with that confidence piece, if they do more research, if they spend an hour doing more extensive research, it will subconsciously build more confidence because I'm going to say this as politely as possible, but 90% of people don't do any research on anything and they just form opinions.
Yeah.
So if you just go even an extra step and you can tell yourself that most people I'm going to talk to have no idea what the subject matter is, you're going to build an extra level of that, that you're not going to have all these people coming out saying that you're wrong. Like, it doesn't happen that way.
Yeah.
So,
and it may have been you who said it, and we just had our conference, so I can't remember which one of the speakers, but they said confidence comes from keeping commitments to yourself. And so back to that reps thing, like if you don't feel confident, but you get the reps and do the research and the shoulders back and all the things we talked about, but just do the work, and the confidence will come if you do the work.
And I think actually, so the keynote that I gave was about fear. And I think fear is the biggest killer of confidence, and it keeps you small.
Yeah.
It was fear that personally was keeping me. I didn't launch my business for 2 years, even though I was working in the hospital. That is unbelievable. Like, crazy. I had an insane media career. Like, I was working at Netflix. Like, I had all the skills, and it was fear that was keeping me from the life that I dreamed of. And so when people are not feeling confident, you have to pull back and say, what is really keeping me back? What am I actually afraid of? Yeah. Start listing those out. Because I think it's enough to say, oh, I should be on video. And then 2 years later, you're still not. Right. Peel back the curtain. A lot of people are afraid of judgment. When the voice in their head is Mean Girl Donna from high school at the other lunch table. But guess what? Mean Girl Donna is not your client, and she's not going to buy a home from you. Yeah. And also, she's probably busy cooking pasta for dinner. She's not paying any attention. But we have to.
She probably peaked her junior year. So take that, Mean Girl Donna.
Bye, Donna.
Bye, Donna.
Bye, Donna. But I think that person that we envision is wrong. And so the fear, like, I like to break it down to the fear is that maybe you're afraid of judgment. You're afraid of people judging you. Maybe you're afraid to fail. You're going to start showing up on camera and no one's going to watch and you're going to feel like a loser. Yeah. Maybe you feel like a fraud. Imposter syndrome is a big thing. My clients honestly have cried in sessions with me because when I help them show up more publicly and it is working, it hits something that they're a little afraid of. And that is owning the fact that they're bigger and better than they could accept.
Yeah. Also, I'll add 2 things. Number 1 is there's going to be keyboard warriors everywhere, and who gives a shit because it doesn't matter what they say. And number 2 is people believe anything that you post. Just look at social media. So just put content out. It doesn't matter whether it's true or not. Just run with it. So
great book by Jay Baer. I think the title is Hug Your Haters because they're like, that's fuel. Like, that's good. That means people are watching. If you don't have any haters, are you really even doing anything?
He loves the comments. He goes and reads them. I don't. I'm just I don't really care. And
no, I respond to
funny in it.
Yeah. No, I don't even try to fight with him. I just have a good time. Like, I'm going to have fun either way. All right. So
I think, and to your point about the, like, fakes and putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
So when I have agents I've worked with some agents who've been in it for decades and they feel a little, these newer agents don't have as much experience. They're getting all these clients from social media. I'm like, take that jealousy and envy and show up like the boss that you are. Yeah. So take that and use that as fuel. Use that as fuel instead of saying, I'm jealous that younger agents are getting clients and I'm actually the real deal. I agree with you. It is a new world where people can show up and spout nonsense, then show up and spout not nonsense, show up and spout credibility, and then you'll be attracting those leads and clients. So use that as fuel.
All right. What were the four other C's?
So the first C, which we derailed everything on, was confidence.
Yes.
There are 4 others. Give us the 4 others.
The next one is clarity. One video, one message.
Okay.
That's to James's point. Do your research. Know what you're going to say.
Yep.
Prep will help you. Yep.
What else? You're showing up and talking about, you're showing up and giving that market update in and out. In and out. So really straightforward. Credibility. So this is something that a lot of people forget. Everybody is credible in some ways, whether it's your degrees, the ranking that you got, the amount of homes you've sold, your background. Everyone has some marker of credibility. You have to show up like that because obviously people need to like you, but they also need to trust you. It's a big investment. Like if they don't trust you, but they like you, they'll grab a beer with you, but they're not going to work with you.
Yeah.
And so like I have one of my clients out of New York, Randy, he's a huge agent, like a top 1% agent. He was crushing it on TikTok, came to me at hundreds of thousands of followers. And he came to me, he was like, I'm doing great. Obviously I have a huge following. I really want to make sure that this is converting into clients, into business. Right. And so I did like a deep dive, pull back the curtain on analytics. I did like competitive analysis, a big creative strategy. And one thing we worked on was credibility. So having a lot of followers, sometimes it translates to credibility and sometimes it doesn't. So for agents, basically what we were talking about is not just having you be the hand that opens the door and shows a big room, but also showing up with that other part of you where you're sharing your expertise and you're sharing your credibility. And so we leaned in to a credibility focused video series and he got $1 million home referral off of that series, just like that. And so that, and then part of what that was is the combination of followers and credibility ended up building him a massive referral network across the country.
This big flywheel effect.
Big flywheel. So I think a lot of times we think, oh, well, I'm talking about real estate. That doesn't necessarily mean you're showing your credibility. So that's awards, knowledge, rankings, sales volume. It could be client wins. That's credibility. But you have to really show up as the expert and you really want a mix of both the credibility and the next C, connection. I think of these two as I never said this before. It's the cherries, the pair of cherries. They have to come together. The connection and the credibility have to be there for people to work with you. So credibility, they trust you. They want to hire you, but the connection, they have to like you. So what does this look like? So I had a agent from Houston come to me. Her name was Jessica. Knowledgeable. She'd been in it maybe 7 years, 8 years. So she had a book of business. She came and she was like, I feel I'm overthinking everything and I don't feel super confident on camera. And I said, okay, like tell me more about your life. So she's a mom. She got 2 little kids and she's building this big business. I was like, start bringing people in, like just talk to the camera about your day. Talk to the camera what you're excited about, what your homes you're showing this week, but pack lunch, like show people that you're a busy mom, take them with you in the car, show the car seat.
Right.
And she ended up getting like 3 clients directly from social media within the first 5 months. And now she last year brought in $5 million in new home sales from video.
Wow. And so for those who, I do not suffer from this, but some people do, who maybe they want to keep their personal and their business. How do you coach them to at least open up some aspects of their personal? Because there are a fair number of residential real estate professionals who, they want to keep their personal and their business. How do you help them through that process?
So I just had a client ask me this today, and I think what we need to do is to redefine personal. When you're an agent, you being out and living your life helps lend credibility to you being the mayor of your town. Right. So stop thinking of it as like, well, I'm just at the supermarket. Well, that supermarket has 100 potential clients in it every single day. Right. That clothing store can share your content and let people know about you. That dentist's office can put your cards there. So instead of saying, oh, this is personal, like personal is TMI. Personal is your childhood trauma that you don't need to share with people. But or you know, you're
do you?
Or do you? or like you're you know, if and so I think that number one, we need to remember that personal, it really, really broadens out for an agent. I just had someone, I had a meeting with this today. She goes, how much personal? I'm like, you went to that cultural event. That's not personal. That's you being the mayor. So for agents, personal, anything around town, don't think of it as personal. Who cares that you did it off the clock? You're an agent. You're kind of always on the clock. And then the other part of personal is you will start to notice that when you start sharing content, that's a little more, I don't even want to say personal, soft. Yeah. More of the soft side, more of the lifestyle section of a magazine, right?
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
I'm sorry, James, what'd you say? More what?
Vulnerable.
Yes.
Say.
Yes.
Yes. Both, to be more open.
Exactly. So any lifestyle type of stuff where you're just out and about or anything more vulnerable, really, you will start looking at your content, look at your feed. You will have a lot of engagement on that. I promise you this. So for anyone listening, I challenge you to share something this week that is not personal, but softer. It's not just about real estate. So maybe it's something you did on the weekends. Maybe it's your kid winning a basketball tournament. Maybe you went to a spa that you loved. Yeah. Put it on your social media. Get an engagement tool. So put a poll. Do you go to the spa? Yes or no? Like, I just played volleyball with some friends. Do you still play sports? Yes or no? Anything like that. I challenge you to put that out there. See if it got more engagement than your last 3 basic, straightforward real estate posts, and message me at Kim Rittberg on Instagram or LinkedIn or whatever. I promise you the things that you're thinking feel personal are actually what people will engage with. So not only is it okay to do personal content, you're going to see it's required because not everybody's going to say, oh, interesting that the rates are down.
Well, they also want to relate to you. So Keith and I talked about this a while ago. We're obviously, very visual and out in the real estate sphere everywhere. We do put our personal stuff up. Like I don't show like my daughter at her school. I don't need the address of where she goes to school online, but that doesn't mean I'm not showing really cute pictures of her first day at school or the outfit she's wearing. Yeah. And, it is interesting you say that because people will engage more in that kind of stuff. They'll go, oh, I remember my daughter's first day of school. And we had this somebody else on a while ago. We were like, we know there's a lot of people watching. They just don't comment, but the comments section is a lot bigger when they personal. Can relate. You put, I'm out with my dog doing a hike. You're like, oh, what's the breed? I love dogs. So you have to show that you're not a freaking robot. Like there's got to be more things that they relate to, or they're just going to think you're all business.
The way that I try to describe that to people when I'm talking, I'm not a video coach. So Kim, if you think I'm full of it, please say so. But
you're full of it.
Your name's not Kim. You don't have to let your whole personal life, right? And you can absolutely carve out pieces where you say, no, this is not for social media. And that is totally okay. What you can't do is say none of your personal life, right? If you're a reader, share book reviews, right? If you're an economics nerd, I'm picking what I do, right? But I'm an economics nerd. I listen to Bloomberg every morning. It's on in the background when I'm doing email. So it's very easy for me to have an opinion on the economy, right? So those are 2 areas where I can share personally, air quotes, but aren't like, maybe my kids, because not everybody's comfortable with that, or maybe, some hobby that's really special to you. And it's okay to have little slices of you that aren't for social media, but you also have to then pick slices of you that are for social media and deliver on those.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And sorry.
No. I was going to ask a follow-up question, but go ahead.
I just think, first of all, when you're starting to embark on social media, ideally you're going in with a strategy. And so what I start with my clients is a strategy of what are the things we talk about. And they're not 20 things. They're 3 to 5. I call them content buckets or content pillars. You pick that. And then once you realize, actually, this does fall into one of my content buckets. So for me, I am a working mom and it is a part of my professional brand. Yeah. Right. It is a part of it. I was working in the hospital giving birth while being a media executive. It is a part of my professional brand. And that's okay.
Yeah.
And so I incorporate that into it. And then I wanted to hear, Keith, your follow-up. And I stopped. My kids are getting a little older, and I never put them in photos unless they're okay with it and they want it now, because they have agency. But when they were littler, I was like, they don't have agency.
Here you go. Yeah. you cute little sucker. I'm posting this one. Right. Yeah.
And I'm sorry, Keith, what were you going to say?
Well, you mentioned and hit on like people going viral a little, or, we talked about increased engagement. Yeah. I feel like everyone wants, or maybe they get frustrated when their content doesn't go viral, which is that the right mindset? Is there a key to making viral content? Like, what does viral even mean? If you could define that for me, just unpack that sort of viralness of social media content, video specifically.
So I'm going to put a question out there. So there's a family and their cat played piano really well last year. And they're, based in Wisconsin, and they landed on the Today Show.
Right.
Aren't they making millions of dollars today because of that viral moment of their cat playing piano?
No.
Right. Yeah. So I think the idea of virality is something we're all really excited about. But I think when you really, if you're an agent, you're not selling widgets for $2.
Right.
You're actually, every relationship and every signed contract is worth real money, and each person is a real person on social media. Right. So if you're trying to sell widgets for $2 or 1 cent, you want millions of followers. You need that to have a business.
Sure.
When you're an agent, it's a service. You're in a service industry. Every human matters. Every person who follows you is a real person who could hire you or refer you. And so it's such a different mindset for agents and business owners. And so I just think the point of virality that I dislike is that it makes people feel unsuccessful when they are actually being successful.
Yeah. Look, if you want to go viral, you could record yourself just drop kicking some grandma, right? That would probably,
and you'd end up in prison and not with many more clients.
Correct. But the video would be out there and everybody would click on it, right? Like,
Can I also just state I'm feeling really uncomfortable with this conversation, being I have the flu and you guys keep using the words viral.
I thought he was going to say, I don't like you talking about kicking grandma. That wasn't what bothered him.
Virality and viral. And I'm sitting going like, are you guys just literally saying this to me? Or like, I feel very picked on right now.
No, but drop kicking grandma. That part of the conversation was fine.
That's
it was the word viral.
By the way.
For the record, I've never drop kicked anyone, especially a grandma. But my point is, I think it's the absolute virality. Sorry, James, has levels to it, right? When you have a video that sort of takes off and it gets more comments than most of your other videos and maybe gets some shares, that you got to recalibrate viral. Right.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be Mr. Beast. We started a podcast. You have a podcast. We're probably not going to get Joe Rogan's listeners. Right. Like, it's just how it is. It's okay. But that doesn't, is it growing? Is it having the effect? The comment that I usually make is, do you want dollars or do you want dopamine? Right.
Love that.
Do you want the dollars in your bank account, or do you want to be popular and
writing that down? Do
it. Just 1% on all the merch. So like, I want dollars. I don't want dopamine. I don't care if I ever go viral. I want people to know that I'm a trusted source for certain specific pieces of information. Lean into that.
And I liked what you were flagging about. If you do have a piece of content that really did get engagement, put on your econ brain, like put on the strategy brain and say, what about this piece connected with people? Use that bit of information, but don't try to replicate that. That's it's just a recipe for disaster. But what you could do is say, people seem to be really drawn to that video of me and my daughter dancing through the house of this listing. What was it about it? Was it that my daughter's cute? Was it that we were like, let your hair down and very like casual? Was it more vulnerable? You can start thinking about that and then use that as a testing. So basically in media, we would always launch new series. So at Netflix, Pop Sugar, Us Weekly, People Magazine, where I've worked at all those places, we will launch new series. We will test them out. We will keep rolling them out and then see how they are analytically. We look at the analytics and then pivot. So I think what you can be using this for is saying, okay, this video did well. Let's try to replicate that, see if it's consistent. And then what parts of it can we keep to keep growing our connection to people? And so using it as a marketing tool, a thoughtful marketing tool, rather than like a one-hit wonder. You don't want to be Chumbawamba. You don't want to be Chumbawamba.
Great.
I don't even think I've heard reference to that.
That's it.
I mean,
A one-hit wonder band from the 80s.
No, I know what it is. I just I haven't thought about that since like the 90s.
Yeah.
I think you mean I get knocked down.
Yeah.
I get up again.
That one. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, this is running the spectrum. We got singing. We got the whole 9 yards.
I was more talk singing.
Yeah. All right, who's up? My question or yours, James?
Keep going. Yeah.
So, demands on time. You talk a lot about this.
Sure.
And especially for and I don't know, I think I like this word, but I'm not sure, the solopreneur of residential real estate. I remember I was in a relationship once where she would always ask, when are you going to be done? Right? When are you going to be done with work? And my answer was always, honey, I'm never done. I just stop. So ask me when I'm going to stop, because I could always send one more email. I could always send one more text. I could always make one more phone call. I could always dig deeper and go preview properties. Like, I'm never done. I just stop. So for that residential real estate professional or executive or whoever, how do you balance all the demands for the solopreneur and being consistent at social media at the same time?
Yeah. So I love this question. I just wrote something down as you were thinking. I'm like, ooh, ambition versus, yeah. So I think the finite resources is a true thing. Also realize there are finite resources everywhere. So even when I worked at Us Weekly, my team was 4 people smaller than I would want it to be to hit the goals that we set out for ourselves. Right. Always. But it's even more serious as a solopreneur, because you do have to prioritize revenue generating operations first. And then marketing will generate revenue, but not in this exact moment. So it gets put on the back burner. So I think the important thing is, when I work with my clients, we sit down and say, not just for anyone, but for you, Keith, how much time do you have each week? How much money do you have for the month or for the year?
Right.
Are you a super organized person? Do you like making content spontaneously?
Yes.
So it's really about figuring out the checkerboard of that. So it's time. So it's time, it's money, and how you like to work. So those 3 factors will figure out what type of plan you have. So from the smallest to the largest, so like the people that I work with who are top 1% agents that are really serious about marketing, we generally outsource more. So I will guide them. I will build their strategy. We will do consulting, and we will bring in people to help, whether that's a videographer or a social media manager or a video editor. But I will be their executive producer to help them build a really amazing content creation machine that can keep running. Now I just hit the microphone. Now going downwards into the how much time or money or commitment. If you don't have as much money to spend, you need to find the time. If you don't have money and you don't have time, I don't have an answer for you.
Sure. Makes sense.
If there's that, I'm not like a magical creature. I'm not a magical creature.
The question is it really that important to you? Right?
Yes.
Because if you consistently don't have the time, you might be telling yourself this is important, but your actions are indicating that it isn't.
I have clients like that, and I am very honest with them. And then, on the bottom end of like, if you don't really have money, but you have some time, then what we do is we structure your time really well. I teach you how to film it by yourself on the iPhone. I have this program called Video Bootcamp. I teach you can do it. Like, you can truly make a lot more money, just you and your iPhone, with confidence and a strategy. So I think that there's the people you can invest more time, more money, and outsource more. You can do it all yourself, save your money, but it is time. I say to my agents, I am very honest, and I say, you say it's important to you. I have seen you on camera one time this entire month. So I want you to tell me where is it coming from? Where is the holdback coming from? And I think, to your point earlier, James and Keith, we were talking earlier about the real reasons that people aren't getting on camera, the real reasons that we're not hitting our goals. You have to be real with yourself. If you're saying, I want to make content, I want to grow my business, I know that this is the future, but you've showed up on camera one time this month, no offense, but no one's that busy.
Sure. Right. You're voting with your time.
Yes.
Right?
And I think that that's okay. But then basically, like, I sit down and say, what's really holding you back? And sometimes they're like, honestly, I feel gross. I feel bad. I feel bad in my own skin this month, or I'm having personal issues. Okay. That's a real excuse. Fine. Like, I'm having personal issues, or, I'm so busy. I say, great. Give the camera to your assistant, have them film you while you're walking.
Right. Right.
So if I think you're so busy, that's a different conversation than if you're not busy and then you're just finding excuses.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you ever meet people and just be like, this isn't for you? No, I mean,
James as a motivational coach.
No, I'm just, I literally asked this question because I have found myself maybe this is the part I don't care anymore, but I just go,
you're one of my favorite humans. I love you.
And they're like, I want to do X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, don't. It's not meant that I don't love you, but like, I know you and this is not for you. Like
James,
you should do this, but not that.
James Dream Killer Dwiggins. That's your new handle. Yeah.
No, but like, come on.
I know
like,
what you mean.
You're just like, no. Like you're not, people don't present themselves well. They're timid. And I'm just like, no, just don't even talk about video. Like
you're going to be the keynote speaker at the conference called Crap on My Dreams.
Yeah. Yes. And I go for free. I actually waive my speaker fee on that. So yeah. So that's my favorite one of the year.
Yeah. I love this question. I really deeply, truly at my core, I have met thousands of people. They're working in media. They're working in TV. I think right now it is the world's best time to put yourself out there because 20 years ago, like I studied media, like I went to Penn, I went to the Annenberg School. I teach media at Syracuse sometimes. I'm a guest lecturer. Truly, from a historical, like very intelligent standpoint, Keith, you should listen to me instead of Bloomberg.
Yeah, I'm about to.
They're the people who were the gatekeepers who were allowed to be on TV were anchors.
Right.
The men and the women, they cut a certain look. They had a certain voice. They all dressed a certain way.
Yeah. I'm married to one, I know. Yeah.
Today, we are actually looking for new faces, new voices. People actually want to. If you look at your own feed of podcasts and social media, you're not only following like Today Show anchors and the Kardashians. You're actually probably following, listening to, and buying from a lot of authentic, credible people that you feel connected to. So credibility and connection, those two C's I mentioned earlier, that's why you like them. So I think any person who believes that they want to put themselves out there to make more money, to grow their business, to have a bigger impact, anyone who wants it, I think can get there. Every single person has the capability of speaking with more clarity, being more confident, and being more visible. Truly. Okay. I truly feel that. But I think what I can't give you desire.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was a good question, Keith.
I didn't say it wasn't. Yeah.
I'm a very honest person.
Yeah.
People have said to me.
I figured that out. Where's this Crap on Your Dreams conference, by the way?
Yeah.
So, it's in New York City, obviously.
Shocker.
Yeah. Shocker. Yeah.
Or LA. The second one's in LA.
Midtown or,
It's going to be right in Times Square.
Got it.
It's going to be hosted by me and the Naked Cowboy.
There you go.
But I do honestly, I do have people who come to me, and I have sometimes like people start working with me, and I'm like, I see you. You speak well. You have business. Let's get you on camera. And then like we talk about it a few times. And if they really can't, I'm like, let's be real. Do you want this? And I'm honest with people. I think that there's sometimes people say, I'm neurodiverse and I work in this other way. And I say, thank you for telling me that. Let's work in this other way. I have other people say, honestly, this is really hard because I feel really insecure and I see myself and I just think, ugh. But I say, you know what? People are engaging with your content and they're really enjoying it, and focus on the great messages you got. And so I think that there's different ways to break through, but when someone can't identify or isn't willing to engage with the things holding them back, then I think it's very, very hard. But I truly believe no matter who you are, you can be a better speaker, both in person and on video.
Oh, for sure. I guess there's to your point, the desire to push past it and, overcome those fears to make that happen.
Yeah.
And I like, sorry. I was going to say, one of you raised something earlier that I wrote down that I also wanted to say. I think
probably Keith.
It was both of you after we used the V word. I think there is this double-edged sword between motivation and then pausing and patting yourself on the back, which is important. So I think that a lot of people who are successful, pushing, but then you have to say, hey, you know what, Keith, James, you did a good job. Pause and say, you ran a really fun conference. People felt really valued and seen and they had fun. And so I hope you guys on Saturday after the conference said, you know what? Good job. And you said good job to the team and you made each other feel good. But I think that there's that double-edged sword, and I see it a lot with media and video and content, is you're putting yourself out there and you have to be so vulnerable, and it can be really hard sometimes. And then you have to pause and say good job, because otherwise it's always next. And life passes you by and you haven't said, hey, I did this thing and this thing was hard. Good for me. And I say to people when I coach them, I say, getting confident on camera takes people years usually. You just did it in 5 weeks. Good for you. You're a boss. You should celebrate that. And I have had more clients say, you're right. Thank you. That this does feel good. And I say, like, don't brush over, oh, I got on camera. You got on camera for the first time 4 times in 1 month, and you haven't gotten on camera in a year. That's a huge win. So celebrating those wins.
Yeah. And one thing I think over motivation is discipline. Like, motivation waxes and wanes. But like, when I give people the biggest shout outs is when they don't want to and they do it anyway.
Yes.
Right. That is when you are now, it's part of your business, and you didn't feel like it wasn't a good hair day. I have perfect hair days every day. But because I don't have any, just in case you're listening.
I'll send you some product.
We carry the two.
Yeah. So like, when you do it when you don't want to, I think is when you're really on the path to mastery, right? Sure. And you're really on the path to greatness.
Look, it's hard, you know. We'll go last final question, but I remember it was having this conversation with my wife. You know, she's on camera in front of 1.5 million viewers, and I'm just like, how the hell do you do that? And I'm like, I'd be freaking out. She goes, every time you're on stage doing a keynote, I'm losing my mind. Like, it's a totally different craft and repetition. The point I was just making with this is you just got to start and then keep going. Ignore the comments, just keep going, and then you'll build confidence and you'll get there. So
all right, I'm going to take us to the last question. But I just wanted to say this podcast has had drop kicking grandmas, naked cowboys, and the Shit on Your Dream conference coming soon to a city near you.
And
so
I've been viral 6 months with 6 different diseases.
Yes. So this is...
So my conference is going to be called Achieve Your Dreams, and it's going to be downtown in a really cool place in downtown Manhattan. And then the next day, James's Shit on Your Dreams conference is going to be in Times Square with the Naked Cowboy. But I'll go. I'll go. But I'm not a speaker there.
I'm here, by the way. This
but if you attend both and still take action, then you will win, because you'll be motivated and you'll have been through the crucible of the of the Shit on Your Dreams conference. All right. Last question. We end this every podcast with this. If you were an agent or owner of a real estate brokerage, what's the one thing you'd implement today to help your business?
Video.
Duh. Yeah.
But the reason why, though, is video, people engage more with it. Statistically, video it gets people to engage more with it. It is the most shared type of content over photos, text, anything like that. And the robots like it. Every social media platform promotes video. So I think that when we talk about what is going to see the biggest bang for your buck, whether you're doing it for free on your iPhone or if you're hiring a crew, you see bang for your buck with video, and it's faster than any other thing. Yeah.
Do you have the 4 or 5 C's, depending on who you're talking to?
Yeah.
Do you have that we could share with the audience if they wanted to dig in more? And we'll also link to your, if they want to reach out to you for coaching and that sort of stuff, we'll put all that in the show
and your pod.
notes.
We'll put that in the link.
Yeah, we'll put the pod.
Thank you so much. Yeah, great.
Of course.
Kim, it was awesome to have you on the show. Thanks so much for being here. It was great to see you on stage, but it was also super fun to just have this more interactive conversation. So thank you so much for being here.
And I look forward to our Midtown Shit on Your Dreams conference. So
it's going to be it's going to be in January, New Year's resolutions. It's going to be January, New Year's resolutions, Shit on Your Dreams conference.
Well, it'll be right in the middle of a polar vortex. So that way
isn't the January 13th always Quitters Day? So we should host this on January 13th, which is officially
we're going to get canceled if we keep this up. So. Anyways, Kim, appreciate you being here.
Thanks so much.
Talk to you soon.
All right.
Thank you.
Will subscribing to this podcast save the real estate industry as we know it? Yes, it absolutely will. Subscribe now and you'll be able to find out if I'm right.